Over 30 band members have left or been fired from Megadeth over the years. In this video, we'll be ranking the 10 most dramatic departures. Number 10, Glen Drover, lead guitar. Glen quit because of Megadeth's insanely demanding touring schedule. Apart from feeling emotionally and physically exhausted by the lifestyle, he also wanted to spend more time with his family. And while there was no major drama between him and the rest of the band, Glen did mention that the band's environment itself could be stressful. He did, however, emphasize that he left amicably, and Dave Mustaine has only spoken positively of him afterward. Number 9. Chris Broderick, lead guitar. Chris departed in 2014, citing artistic differences and frustrations over not having enough creative freedom in Megadeth. He wanted to create music where he would have complete control over the artistic direction, and he left because Dave wouldn't let him do that in Megadeth. Hours apart from his exit, his fellow bandmate also quit, which brings us to number 8, Shawn Drover, drums. Shawn quit for similar reasons to Chris, and felt that after 10 years with Megadeth, his contribution to the band had run its course. He wanted to pursue his own musical interests, which didn't align with Megadeth, so he and Chris teamed up after their mutual departure and formed the band Act of Defiance. While both of them have stated that they left on good terms, the name of their new band might hint at a bit of bad blood with Dave Mustaine. Or maybe a cool band name is just a cool band name. Number 7. Chuck Behler, drums. Chuck was fired because Dave was dissatisfied with Chuck's drumming precision and stamina in live performances, and Dave's concerns were definitely valid if you compare Chuck's drumming to his predecessor Gar Samuelson. Apart from that, the entire band and management were involved in heavy substance abuse during that era, which affected trust and reliability across the board. There were also internal tensions, as Megadeth in the 80s was famously chaotic. Personality clashes and pressure from constant touring made the environment extremely volatile. Chuck simply didn't mesh well with Dave's expectations or working style, and was soon replaced by his own drum tech, Nick Menza, who had been practicing Megadeth's set backstage. Number 6. Jeff Young, lead guitar. According to Dave Mustaine, Jeff was let go after he caused the cancellation of a few shows in Japan because he ran out of his recreational drug of choice and wanted to go home for a refill. He also allegedly tried to put the moves on Dave's fiancée Diana. The relationship after the split became extremely hostile. Dave continued making wild allegations against Jeff, even claiming credit for Jeff's guitar solos. Jeff, of course, has categorically denied all of this, and has described Dave as suffering from cocaine-induced paranoid delusions, and he's called Dave a pathological liar for spreading false stories about him for decades after their split. It's unclear what the true reason for the split was, but overall, Jeff was just another victim of the toxic and chaotic atmosphere surrounding Megadeth at that time. Number 5. Marty Friedman, lead guitar. Marty's departure from Megadeth was triggered by Dave Mustaine re-recording Marty's solo on Breadline without telling him. Management was supposed to inform Marty about the change, but failed to do so. When they listened to the finished album together and Marty's solo wasn't there, Dave watched tears run down Marty's face. Apart from that incident, Marty had been growing tired of thrash metal for some time and wanted to do something a bit more experimental. Dave Mustaine tried to accommodate Marty as much as he could, but after the lukewarm reception of Risk, he told Marty that the band had to return to its thrash roots. Marty wasn't keen, and he also had a growing passion for Japanese music that he wanted to pursue, so he decided to leave the band and move to Japan. During his final months with Megadeth, Marty suffered from severe panic attacks that affected him physically and mentally, and he had to use antidepressants and muscle relaxers just to get through performances. He announced his departure in December 1999 and played his final show in January the next year. The actual split was pretty cordial, and Marty and Dave maintained contact over the years. Dave even makes sure to check in with Marty anytime he's in Japan, and Marty has reunited with Megadeth on stage several times. Marty has stated there are absolutely no negative feelings or sourness between him and Dave has said he is proud of everything Marty has achieved after leaving Megadeth. But to fans, the amiability of the split is what made it so sad, as we can still picture a world where Marty and Dave worked through their creative differences and Megadeth retained the greatest lead guitarist it has ever had. Number 4. Nick Menza, drums. During the Cryptic Writings tour, Nick was having knee problems and had to go through surgery to remove a benign tumor. Not wanting to cancel any shows, Dave hired Jimmy DeGrasso as a temporary replacement instead of waiting for Nick to recover. When the time came to record the follow-up album, Dave called up Nick, who was still in recovery at the hospital, and told him, "Your services are no longer needed." Nick was fired, and Jimmy took his spot. Dave came off as cold for firing a bandmate he had known for 10 years just like that. But Dave had an obligation to the music and the fans. And the fact was, Nick was not in the required physical condition to meet the demands of the job. Waiting for him would have meant canceling shows, which was something Dave Mustaine hated to do. Nick, however, saw this as a great betrayal and thought Dave was being an unkind person for kicking him while he was down. Their relationship soured even more over the years, with Dave accusing Nick of lying about having cancer, which Nick denied. Nick also claimed Dave has been tampering with his royalty payments and accused Dave of taking food out of his kids' mouths. Tragically, Nick died on stage while performing in 2016 at the age of 51. Since then, Dave has expressed sympathy and regret towards his late bandmate and probably wishes he had handled things differently. Number 3. Gar Samuelson, drums. Gar was fired from Megadeth in 1987 following the final show of their tour in Hawaii, primarily due to his extreme heroin addiction. Dave Mustaine claimed that Gar had become too much to handle when intoxicated, and David Ellefson also noted his playing had become inconsistent. After leaving Megadeth, Gar formed a band called Fatal Opera with his brother, but he died in 1999 at age 41 from liver failure, a tragic end likely related to years of substance abuse. Dave has described not saying goodbye to Gar before he died as one of the lowest points of his career, expressing deep regret about not having the chance to make peace and apologize. Megadeth did pay a tribute to Gar at Woodstock 1999, where they dedicated peace cells to him. Years later, Dave has spoken warmly about Gar and acknowledged his impact on Megadeth's sound. Number 2. David Ellefson, bass. This exit is noted for having an exceptionally shocking cause. In May 2021, private videos of Ellefson were leaked online. The videos were really explicit and led to accusations that he had groomed an underage fan. Both Ellefson and the woman involved stated the interactions were consensual between adults and that the videos were recorded and released without Ellefson's consent. Despite this, Dave Mustaine announced that Megadeth was officially parting ways with Ellefson. Ellefson was disappointed about not getting any support from Dave during a difficult time for him, but from Dave's point of view, he had to do what was best for the band and had no choice. Both of them later also admitted that there was mutual resentment building up, and it was only a matter of time. For example, in 2018, when working on Megadeth's new album, Ellefson would find his creative contributions constantly overwritten by Dave. The relationship between Dave and David remains completely severed with no communication whatsoever. Ellefson has not spoken to Mustaine at all since being fired in 2021 and has stated he has no plans to do so. Unlike other former members who eventually reconciled with Dave, Ellefson appears to have no interest in mending the relationship, viewing his departure as liberation from a toxic situation. Number 1. Chris Poland, lead guitar. Chris Poland was fired along with Gar Samuelson in July 1987 after the final show of Megadeth's Hawaii tour due to their severe heroin addictions. The breaking point came when Chris allegedly sold off the band's equipment, including Mustaine's and Ellefson's gear as well as his own, to fund his habit. Dave was furious, later channeling that anger into the song Liar. For years after his firing, Dave continued calling Chris a liar on stage, which has damaged his reputation and cost him endorsement opportunities. He recalled being turned away at Carvin Guitars and realizing that Dave's public accusations had permanently impacted his career. The fallout resurfaced years later in 2004, when Chris sued Dave for using his demo recordings on a Rust in Peace reissue without permission or payment. After being repeatedly ignored or insulted by management while trying to resolve the issue privately, he settled for $9,500, an experience that ended his professional relationship with Dave for good. Dave dismissed the entire case as a nuisance suit, accusing Chris of selling out their friendship for 4 figures. Chris has since said he doesn't miss being in Megadeth and believes he may not have survived had he stayed longer. So that's my ranking of Megadeth's top 10 most dramatic band member exits. If you think anyone who wasn't in the list deserves to be included, or you have any other opinion or disagreement you'd like to share, please let it be known in the comments.